Hi everyone, we're doing section 5.3 today. If you have your notes, you can have them out. If not, you could take notes on a piece of paper with your heading on it and say section 5.3. Whenever you need to pause or take time to take the notes down, just hit pause and then you can hit play or rewind or whatever you need to do to get back to the notes. So you're going to learn today commutative properties and associative properties. You're also learning a couple of other properties, but that's what we're learning first with example 1. We've talked about commutative properties a lot in chapters 1 and 2, just to see if you understood what they were. Commutative properties of addition is when you are, over here on this side, is when you are taking 5 plus 8 and you are switching the numbers, so 8 plus 5, and you still get the same answer. And it also works with multiplication. So that was addition, and this is multiplication. So if you do 5 times 8, and if you reverse it to 8 times 5, you still get 40. So whichever way that you flip the order, you still get the same answer. When you do associative property, it's a little different. So what they're showing here is you have 7 plus 4 plus 2. And what they're talking about with associative property is with the parentheses. So if you notice, you have all addition. Okay, it has to be all addition. And if they switch the parentheses to a different spot, they didn't switch the numbers are still the same, 7, 4, 2. They're all in the same order. All they did was switch the parentheses. You will still get the same answer. For example, showing here, if you did 7 plus 4, oh, sorry, my fault. Let me erase. How do I get back to my eraser? Okay. All right, so saying right here, when we have 7 plus 4 plus 2, okay, 7 plus 4 is 11 plus 2, which is 13. But if we do the other way, where you switch the parentheses to the other two numbers, you would do 7 plus 4 plus 2, and then 7 plus 6 is 13. You still get the same answer, no matter which way you flip the parentheses. But just please know, and remember what I said before, the 7 stayed the same, the 4 stayed in the same place, and the 2 stayed in the same place. It also works with multiplication. So here's your multiplication. Your 7 and 4 is in parentheses. If you notice, they're all multiplication. There's both your multiplication signs. And then all they did was reverse the parentheses. So now it's no longer around 7 times 4. It is around now 4 times 2. So commutative property is just changing the order of your addends or factors. Addends is an addition problem. Factors is your multiplication problem. This is your addition problem. This is your multiplication problem. Associative property is changing the grouping, which means your parentheses. And again, of all your addends or of all your factors. So addends is your addition and factors is your multiplication. So we are going to try and do a few of those. Okay, so let's go back to example 1. And we're actually going to do problem A. So write example 1 on your paper. Yep, that's perfect. Okay, so write example 1, write problem A, and rewrite the problem. So we're going to write 7 plus 12 plus x. All right, so it is an addition problem. We do have parentheses. So we want to simplify. And in order to simplify this, we're not actually going to be able to solve entirely given because there's an x in there. And that variable, we don't know what the variable is. But we can combine other like terms. So if I did one of the properties, I'd be able to simplify this a little bit more. So I would be working with the associative property of addition. You do have to write of addition or of multiplication, whichever one it is. So because we're doing associative property of addition, you're flipping the order of the grouping, the parentheses. So you're now going to have 7 plus 12 in parentheses, and then you're having plus x on the outside. Our 7 is still in the same spot. Our 12 still in the same spot. All right, so here's my mouse. The 7 is in the same spot. The 12 is in the same spot. The x is in the same spot. Okay, but the only thing that moved was the parentheses. And because, let's go back. Here we go. Now, because we did our associative property of addition, 7 plus 12, we can simplify. And now we have 19 plus x. 19 plus x, we cannot simplify anymore. We have a term of 19 and we have a term of x. So this actually will be our final answer. Okay? So now I'm going to erase this. So if you need to pause and write this out, you may. And we're going to do problem B. Okay, so we have problem B written down. So in parentheses in our grouping, we have 6 and 1/10 plus x, and then we have plus 8 and 4/10. So again, we need to figure out how to simplify. And simplify means that there is a way we have some like terms that we can combine. So it's a little tricky, this one, because I do see two terms that I can combine, but I can't just do one property. I actually have to do two different properties. So I actually have to first do commutative property of addition. That's the first one I have to do. So I'm going to do commutative property of addition. That is going to be my first property. So I am actually going to, in the middle of my parentheses in my grouping, I'm going to flip that order. I'm keeping my parentheses, but I'm doing the commutative property of addition inside my grouping. Now I actually can do another property, and that other property now is going to be the associative property. So I can do the associative property of addition. So that means now I can change the parentheses. So the order has to stay the same. So I'm still going to write x plus 6 and 1/10 plus 8 and 4/10. That order stays the same, but now my parentheses are in a different order. So now I'm going to, on the side, if I go to my eraser, I'm going to go onto the side and I'm actually going to do 6 and 1/10 plus 8 and 4/10. And now with decimals, when we're adding, you just bring the decimal down. So now your answer is, and you can't simplify that anymore. This is for problem B. We're still in example 1. We're on problem C. And you have 5 times, and it's in the grouping, 11 times y. I don't see any multiplication signs, but we know when you have a number next to parenthesis, that means to multiply. And when you have a number next to a variable, that also means to multiply. So what's great is we know that this is all multiplication. So when we're looking here, we can't do 11 times y because we don't know what y is. But we can do the properties, one of the properties, to help us simplify the expression. So if I do the associative property of, and we know it's of multiplication, remember there's no abbreviating, so you do have to spell all this out. You're going to keep the order. So it's still going to be 5 times 11 times y. And you don't need to have a raised dot in between 11 and y. You can have them next to each other. But all you have to do now is move the parentheses around 5 times 11. So now we know 5 times 11 is 55. And then bring down the y. So your answer is 55y. So I'm going to show you try it number 1 because it's a little confusing the way they do it on Big Ideas, and I want to make sure you understand what they're actually asking for in your boxes. When you go onto Big Ideas and you go onto the try it's, down below, you're going to see the spreadsheet, but then down below, let me get my pen on, down here is going to be a word bank where you can actually drag them and you're going to put them where they need to go, where at whatever they are. They're looking for certain ones and all you're doing is dragging. But if you have your printed out notes, you're actually going to add these into here. So you do, let me clear this screen. You do need to write this the way you see it on your paper. If you have the printed out notes, you're not going to have to do that, which is great. You just have to fill it in. So let's do try it number 1 to make sure that you understand what we're doing. So here is your original. This is the actual problem. And it says to simplify. Then it says to explain. So this is your simplifying. Okay. And then this is your explaining. Your explaining is your properties. So right here is the same as the original. This is right here. This is just going from the very beginning. 10 plus in your grouping is a plus 9. In your parentheses, a plus 9. So you have, again, if you're looking from here to here, they did something. So the 10's in the same place, but look what they did in the grouping. They flipped them. And that's the commutative property of addition. That's all they did. They didn't change the parentheses. They changed just the order. It doesn't have to be the whole problem. Commutative property of addition. So you would find that at the bottom here. It should be dragging and you drag it up. Okay. For the next one, let me erase this right here. For now, the next step right here, now look, and let me actually erase this arrow. Now you're going from here to here. All right, so we went this way, now we're going down. So look at what happened. It was 10 plus in the grouping 9 plus A, but now look where the grouping is. They moved the parentheses. So what they did was they did the associative property of addition. The next step is we're actually going to go here is you need to actually simplify. So the explaining is not here, the explaining is here. So what you're really doing, I believe, is add 10 and 9. So this is going to be, you'll see it on there, add 10 and 9. You'll see it in the drop down. And then this one in the first box, you're going to write 19 because you did 10 plus 9 plus A. And this is your finalized answer, what you're supposed to simplify. So we just did try it number 1 together. So make sure you go back into your program and you fill those in.